Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a whole stack of sources articles, research, our own notes, and, well, we pull out the most important bits, the key insights, giving you a shortcut to being really informed.
Yeah, getting up to speed quickly.
Exactly. Today, we're plunging into the world of Mark McCormack. Now, that's a name synonymous with building this global sports and entertainment empire.
Huge. IMG, right?
Right. But what's really amazing is he didn't build it out of some fancy MBA program. He built it through what he called street smarts.
Mm-hmm.
So as you listen, maybe think about this. What valuable lessons, does traditional education sometimes miss when it comes to the actual real world of business?
That's the core question, isn't it?
Yeah. Our deep dive today is all about that practical, often pretty unconventional wisdom from McCormack, specifically from his book, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School.
A classic.
It really is. And everything we're talking about today comes straight from excerpts of that book.
And our mission really is just to unpack McCormack's insights on navigating the messy reality of business. He calls it the ins and outs of everyday business life.
Ins and outs, yeah.
You want to pull out stuff you can actually use, actionable knowledge, especially around dealing with people, strategic thinking. So whether you're just like super curious or maybe you're prepping for a big meeting.
Good point.
Get ready to maybe rethink what actually makes someone effective.
Okay, let's really get into this then. McCormack's sort of radical idea was that business, deep down, it isn't really about the spreadsheets or the contracts.
Not primarily, yeah.
It's always about people. He basically said street smarts boil down to an applied people sense.
Applied people sense. I like that.
Yeah. Understanding the human side above all else. But, how did he tell the difference between genuine people sense and just, someone being charming? What was his trick for seeing past the surface?
That's a great question. Because he was almost obsessed with seeing the real self behind the public mask.
The persona.
Exactly. He tells this amazing story about Richard Nixon, for instance. McCormack noticed Nixon using the exact same 5 or 6 sentences in 2 totally different meetings with golf pros.
Wow. Like talking to cardboard cutouts or something?
Kind of like he was talking to stick figures, McCormack said.
Yeah.
And the insight there is you can't let your own ideas or even your company's reputation, like IMG being seen as tough negotiators, blind you to who you're actually dealing with.
Right. Don't get trapped by the label.
In fact, he said you could use those expectations. People project, right? And you can leverage that if you're smart about it.
So, see, beyond the script they're reading from, I remember he talked a lot about active observation. It reminds me of that Dave Marr quote, the first axiom of golf wagering. Even if you don't play golf, it's brilliant.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Never bet with anyone you meet on the first tee who has a deep suntan, a 1-iron in his bag, and squinty eyes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about the golf clubs.
No, it's about spotting the signs, right, the little clues.
Absolutely. It's about aggressive listening and aggressive observation. How do you get these insights? McCormack was huge on aggressive listening.
Aggressive listening. What did that mean in practice?
Oh, he tells this story about a Pepsi-Cola executive. Apparently, this guy could have saved himself and Pepsi a ton of time if he just, been a better listener.
Just listen more carefully.
Yeah. McCormack said when he asked other top business leaders for advice, that was often, right at the top of their list. Listen better. It's not just waiting your turn to talk.
It's actually hearing what's said and what isn't.
Exactly, and digging into what's not being said.
That idea of really intense listening, it's like trying to decode signals. Did he talk about moments outside the formal stuff? Those fringe times?
He did, yeah. He thought observing people during fringe times, seemingly unimportant situations.
Like at lunch or
how they treat a waiter or an airline attendant. He felt those moments really reveal their innermost selves.
when the guard is down.
Right. That's when you see who they really are. And maybe his best example, like you mentioned golf, comes from the course. The simple gimme putt.
The short putt you concede.
Exactly. He saw it as like an X-ray into personality. You got the people who refuse all gims.
Stubborn.
Well, maybe hard to do favors for, he thought. Then there are the ones who just assume you'll give it to them, even from 6 feet away.
Big egos. Expecting it.
That's how he read it. And then the really interesting ones were the people who sort of half try to make the putt.
What do you mean half try?
Like, if it goes in, great. If they miss, well, they weren't really trying. He found those people hard to pin down in business, maybe prone to exaggeration or self-deception.
Fascinating. So even how they putt Reveals something.
Yeah, or even just their score. Someone saying, I had a 79, or fudging their handicap.
Hmm.
He saw that as a clue about their tendency for, let's say, creatively interpreting facts.
Or just lying.
Or just lying, potentially. The point is, character leaks out in the little things.
Okay, so we've got reading people down. What about the other side? How did McCormack advise people to create the right impression, to, subtly shape how they're seen? It's not always big flashy moves, is it?
No, not at all. He said it's often the little things you say and do that often make the most enduring impression. He actually called it an artful form of manipulation.
Ooh, strong word. Manipulation.
Well, yeah, but maybe not negatively. Like the example of Patricia Ryan, managing editor of People magazine. When she thought she might be intimidated at business lunch, she'd order a scotch and water.
And even if she didn't drink it.
Rarely drank it, apparently.
Yeah.
But just ordering that instead of, say, a Perrier created this subtle, business impression. It's using tiny signals to project confidence.
That's clever, using small cues.
Mm.
And what about understanding different cultures? He had that story about Mr. Fujita, the Japanese promoter.
Oh, right, Atsushi Fujita. Securing TV rights by bringing his young daughter to a meeting.
Yeah, to appeal to the network chairman's sense of losing face in America. That took guts.
It really did.
Yeah.
And it worked. It just shows how deeply you need to understand your audience on every level.
Beyond just the business points.
Totally. And McCormack also talked about letters as emissaries. He was big on neatness, no typos, personalization.
Like Christmas cards instead of form letters.
Exactly. He saw them as extensions of yourself. And he loved speed.
Mm-hmm.
Thought telegrams got more attention just because they felt more important.
An aura of importance.
Yeah. The lesson is, every single communication sends a message about you.
And he thought your team reflects on you too, didn't he? Which led to the whole dressing the part idea.
Oh, yeah. Dressing as though you mean business. The famous MCA Universal Penguins example.
So the black suits?
Yeah, a really severe dress code. It helped get rid of that negative Hollywood types stereotype.
Yeah.
Made the execs look more like bankers than movie people.
Controlling the image through clothes. Clever.
Definitely. And another thing was split some seconds. Punctuality. Don't waste people's time.
Respecting time.
Hugely important. He even told a story about being in a meeting at Playboy magazine, and Spiro Agnew's office called him.
The vice president.
Yeah. Even though the call had nothing to do with the Playboy meeting, just the fact that Agnew's office called added this sort of aura of importance to McCormack himself in that moment.
Interesting how perception works. And meetings themselves, he preferred his own turf. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your own turf.
Yeah.
Called it the territorial imperative. Gives you more control.
That makes sense. Control the environment.
And control your words, too. He was so strong on mean what you say. Your word has to be your bond.
He had examples of that going wrong, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. The Leroy Neiman print that never showed up for Dow Finsterwald. And the Wilson Sporting Goods exec giving Arnold Palmer false assurances.
Which led to Palmer leaving Wilson.
Exactly. Palmer felt he couldn't trust them, so he started his own company. The lesson is crystal clear. Break trust. And it's incredibly hard, maybe impossible, to get it back.
That focus on integrity is powerful. But, in today's world, things change so fast. Did he ever talk about how you handle needing to change a promise without completely destroying trust?
That's a good modern question.
Yeah.
He didn't tackle that exact digital age problem head on, but his whole philosophy points towards, transparency.
Just being upfront immediately?
Yeah, I think so. Address it directly, explain why things change, try to honor the spirit of the deal, and always prioritize the relationship itself.
Keep the connection strong.
Exactly. Like his point about using favors strategically. Mr. Fujita arranging for that Japan Airlines exec's daughter to be Martina Navratilova's personal guide.
Right. That wasn't a direct swap.
No, it was pure relationship building, investing in goodwill for the long haul.
It all comes back to his idea of making friends in business, doesn't it? That quote.
Oh, the classic one. All things being equal, people will buy from a friend.
All things being not quite so equal, people will still buy from a friend.
It's so true, though. It just underlines that even when things get tough, that human connection can make all the difference.
It really can.
Which leads perfectly to what McCormack thought was the most important personal asset in business, apart from common sense.
What was that?
A sense of humor.
Really? More important than, say, drive or intelligence?
He argued it was crucial. He told that story about Robert McNamara at Ford. Tense times, lots of plant closings.
Yeah, it must have been stressful.
He gets this huge fruit basket, looks at it, and just deadpans, "What new bananas?" Apparently, it completely broke the tension in the room.
Huh. That's brilliant. A simple joke cutting through all that stress. Amazing how effective that can be.
Exactly. Sometimes levity is the smartest move.
Okay, so we've covered the people skills, the human interactions. Let's switch now to the actual nuts and bolts of selling and negotiation. McCormack felt this was something that they just don't teach you at Harvard Business School.
Yeah, he really saw it as a huge gap in business knowledge for a lot of traditionally educated folks.
What did he mean? Like, they missed the practical side.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The messy, hands-on, psychological part of selling. He gave this fantastic example. Morgan Stanley, the super elite aristocratic investment bank,
Right. Very buttoned up.
trying to win the Teamsters Union's massive pension fund, billions of dollars. And what did the Morgan Stanley execs emphasize in their pitch?
Their amazing track record, their sophisticated models.
Nope. Their humble origins.
Seriously, Morgan Stanley talking humble origins.
Yeah. It showed that even the absolute top-tier firms knew they had to sell themselves, sell their image, connect on a human level. It wasn't just about the numbers. It's how you frame it, how you present yourself.
So even the giants have to know how to connect and sell. That's powerful. And selling inevitably means facing rejection. McCormack acknowledged it's tough, right? Even if it's rarely personal.
Oh yeah, he knew it stung. Simply knowing this doesn't make it any easier to take, he said. But then he flipped it. He argued that the fear of failure is one of the greatest positive motivators.
How does that work? Fear as a motivator.
He saw it as fuel. He pointed to champions like Bjorn Borg and Arnold Palmer. They apparently had deep personal fears of failing, but they used that fear to drive themselves harder.
So channel the fear into effort.
Exactly. Understand rejection is just part of the game. Learn from it and let the fear push you forward. And vital to any sale, any deal, was timing.
Timing is everything.
McCormack really emphasized that. He talked about the secret life of a deal, the need for patience. He even told a story about himself. A client had a problem, and he deliberately waited 2 weeks to call back with a solution.
2 weeks. Why?
To make the solution seem more inspired, more thought out, rather than just a quick fix, it was about controlling the rhythm, creating the right moment.
Wow, that's a strategic pause. It links to his ideas on marketability, doesn't it? Knowing what business you were really in.
Absolutely. Understanding the underlying perceptions. The classic example he used was Rolex.
Right. Rolex is not in the watch business.
We are in the luxury business. Boom. Changes everything.
It really does. It reframes the whole value proposition.
Totally. And he'd say Federal Express sells peace of mind, not just overnight delivery.
Peace of mind. Yeah, I get that.
He even applied it to his own book. The title, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School, is way more marketable than something dry, like, principles in practical management.
Huh. Definitely. Much catchier.
The real lesson there for you is understanding what you truly offer and how people perceive it. That's fundamental. It's not just the thing itself, it's the feeling, the solution.
And once you know what business you're in, he talked about focusing your effort, right? The
Yeah.
80-20 rule.
Yep, the Pareto principle applied to sales. Focus 80% of your energy on the 20% of customers who really matter most.
He gave that Wilkinson sword example, didn't he?
Yeah, in England, they'd arranged these amazing bespoke sports outings for their key clients. Golf with Tony Jacklin, a boxing night with Henry Cooper.
Wow, serious perks.
Exactly. Concentrating resources where they'd have the biggest impact on the most important relationships.
Makes sense. Focus your fire.
And that leads right into how you position something or someone. McCormack said sometimes you even do it with mirrors.
Doing it with mirrors, meaning creating a perception.
Yeah, shaping the narrative, maximizing appeal, even if it's not purely based on, say, objective performance metrics. The amazing example was Laura Bao, the American golfer in Japan.
What happened there?
She became a massive star, huge endorsements,
Yeah.
without actually winning many tournaments. Why? Because they positioned her brilliantly.
Wow.
As an American beauty queen who happened to play a great game of golf, the focus wasn't just on winning. It was the whole package, the image.
So the story was more powerful than the scorecard.
In that market, yes.
Huh.
Or the Killy Challenge with Jean-Claude Killy, the skier.
The Olympic champion.
Right. They'd set up these races where Killy was always handicapped, started behind, but was filmed to always look like he was catching up dramatically at the finish.
Even if he wasn't actually faster overall.
Right. It reinforced his image as the best in the world, the guy who could overcome anything. The takeaway, shaping perception. is often as important, maybe more important, than the raw facts.
Crafting the narrative. Wow. Okay, so shifting to negotiation. McCormack preferred being seen as effective, not necessarily tough. What was the difference for him?
It wasn't about crushing the other side. It was about finding smart, often creative ways to get a good outcome, often using psychology. He talked about psychological currencies.
Not just money.
Exactly. Like that brilliant Australian termination clause he negotiated for Gary Player with Slazenger.
What was that again?
It was a one-year contract, standard enough, but it could only be terminated by either side with 5 years' notice.
5 years notice for a one-year deal. That's unusual.
Very. But the psychological impact was huge. It basically locked them into a long-term relationship because ending it was so cumbersome.
Clever. Makes it sticky.
Super sticky. Or the Arnold Palmer deal with Allstate Life Insurance. The penalty fee for them canceling early was actually larger than Palmer's annual retainer.
So it cost them more to fire him than to keep him for the year.
Pretty much. Again, huge psychological weight. Look beyond the main numbers, he'd say, find those other leverage points.
Thinking outside the box on contract terms. And he stressed not getting hung up on how much, right? Let the other side make the first offer.
Yeah, but the other guy go first.
Yeah.
It gives you invaluable insight into their thinking, their starting point, what they value.
Get a read on them before showing your hand.
Precisely. And when you do make an offer, he advised against using nice, neat, round numbers.
Like $100,000.
Yeah, he said avoid that. Instead, use something specific, like $95,500 or maybe $104,500.
Why the odd numbers?
Because they sound harder, more firm, less negotiable. It implies you've done detailed calculations that the number isn't just plucked out of thin air. Make you seem more prepared.
Interesting psychological trick. So, pulling it all together, negotiation for McCormack was really a game of wits, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It's about controlling your emotions, using honesty strategically, and always thinking about how you can sweeten the deal for the other person based on their self-interest.
Like offering those Olympics tickets in a totally unrelated deal he mentioned.
Exactly. Find out what they want personally or professionally, even if it's outside the main scope, and see if you can weave it in. It's that dynamic blend of strategy and, again, understanding the person.
Okay, we've hit people skills, we've hit deals. Let's zoom out now to the big picture. McCormack's ideas on actually running a business. I mean, his own story is pretty wild. Starting IMG with less than $500.
Incredible, isn't it? Combining his passion, golf, with business acumen. But one of the first big lessons he shared was crucial. Being smart enough to know when you're lucky.
Recognizing good fortune.
Yeah. He was very open that signing the big three, Palmer, Player, Nicholas, right at the start was like winning a lottery. Hugely fortunate timing.
But he didn't just ride that luck.
No, that's the key. He stressed not taking that incredible start for granted. He saw it as a foundation to build on carefully. Not as, the whole game.
Yeah.
The insight. Acknowledge your breaks, but then build strategically from there.
Don't get complacent. And counterintuitively, he advised growing slowly.
Right. Grow slowly. Prioritize learning, building management depth rather than just expanding like crazy. That definitely cuts against the grain of today's scale fast mantra.
It really does. Why slow?
Sustainability, basically. His formula for growth was methodical. Start with the best in one field, golf, learn everything you can from them, expand slowly within that field, then diversify that expertise into adjacent areas.
Like moving into other individual sports.
Exactly. Auto racing with Jackie Stewart, then tennis with Rod Laver, eventually even non-sports figures like Hank Ketchum, the cartoonist, or Gene Shrimpton, the model.
So organic growth based on proven success, not just chasing fads.
Precisely. Build deep expertise, then leverage it carefully. It's a much more robust model, he argued.
And part of that robust growth meant hiring people smarter than you, right? Especially in areas you didn't know well.
Oh, absolutely. Hiring the best to teach you what you don't know. The perfect example was bringing in Jay Michaels to run their new TV division, TWI. McCormack admitted he knew very little about TV production then.
So he brought in an expert?
Yeah. It ties right into his core management philosophy. Hire people who are smarter than you are. And then the second part, then don't sell yourself, sell your company.
What does that mean, don't sell yourself?
It means your job as leader isn't to prove you're the smartest. It's to build and empower the team, to champion the company's capabilities, which are built on those smart people you hired. True leadership is about enabling others.
Empowering the team, got it. He also seemed like a real enemy of bureaucracy. That banana story at General Motors is just hilarious.
Isn't it? Just because he made a joke about no bananas in a fruit basket John DeLorean ended up getting bananas sent to him everywhere for years.
Because some system just blindly followed a perceived instruction.
Exactly. It perfectly shows the absurdity and the danger of rigid, unthinking systems. He also hated how precedent policies could kill opportunities.
Like the Wilson Sporting Goods example again, losing Palmer.
Yeah, because Palmer's requested insurance clause was deemed unprecedented. Wilson stuck to their rules and lost a superstar who then built his own empire.
Mm-hmm.
The lesson: rigid rules might feel safe, but they can cost you dearly in missed opportunities.
You got to stay flexible, adaptable, which fits with his belief in managing unconventionally.
Right. Aggressively pursue change, he'd say. Create opportunities, don't just wait for them. Be proactive, almost restless,
Always looking for an edge.
constantly.
Mm.
And part of that unconventional style was about delegation. His rule was interesting.
Yeah.
Delegate what you can, not what you want to.
What's the difference?
It means you delegate the routine stuff, the things others can do well, to free yourself up. But you don't just delegate the stuff you dislike if it's actually critical. He told that story about Arnold Palmer still calling him directly for golf shoes.
Even when IMG was huge.
Yeah. And Louis Wasserman's story about Jewel Stein, MCA's founder, still personally handling Guy Lombardo's calls decades later. It's about finding that balance. Delegate efficiently, but keep that personal touch on key relationships.
Don't lose contact with the core. When it came to actually managing his people day to day, what was his approach?
Pretty straightforward, but demanding. First, pay them what they are worth, but crucially, after they've proven themselves.
Earn it first.
Right. Second, make them feel important, recognize their contributions, but always keep them sharp by asking tough, challenging questions. Don't let them get complacent.
Keep that edge.
Yeah. And third, make them think for themselves. He called it his kinda sorta school of management,
Kinda sorta.
meaning he wouldn't always give direct, specific answers. He'd be a bit vague, forcing his employees to figure things out, develop their own judgment and solutions.
Builds independence. Sounds effective, if maybe a bit frustrating sometimes.
Probably, but effective. And another big one for him was the boundaries, separate office life from social life.
Keep work and personal life distinct.
Very much so. He told a story about Arnold Palmer's pilot. Great pilot, but apparently kept wandering into business meetings uninvited. It highlighted the need for clear professional boundaries to maintain respect and avoid awkwardness.
Makes sense. Avoid blurring those lines. Now, time management. McCormack was legendary for this, wasn't he? Scheduling all 168 hours a week.
He was incredible discipline. He even scheduled relaxation and rest, viewing it as essential for productivity, not a luxury.
Treating rest like a task.
Wow. But he had practical methods, too. That famous yellow legal pads system he used for organizing everything, tasks, calls, ideas, very structured.
The legal pads, right.
And his trick for avoiding phone tag was genius. Instead of leaving a message saying, "Call me back," he'd say, "I will call you back at precisely 3:15 p.m.
So the onus was on the other person to be available then.
Exactly. He took control of the schedule proactively, and people tended to respect that precision.
Mhm.
The takeaway for you: be deliberate about managing your time, and others likely will too.
That's a simple but powerful tip. And he also talked about saying no, didn't he? Even when it's difficult.
Yeah, the surprising wisdom of learning to say no even when it hurts. He firmly believed an instant negative response, a quick no, was often much better for everyone than a long, drawn-out maybe.
Provides clarity, manages expectations.
Exactly. Respects everyone's time, even if the news isn't good. And finally, decision-making. He admired quick decisions.
Instant decision makers get respect, he thought. Not people who endlessly gather facts.
Right. He felt waiting for too many facts could lead to paralysis. Facts are vital, he said. They're the decision-maker's tools. But ultimately, they won't take the place of intuition.
Trust your gut, informed by facts.
That's it. His prime example was the Wimbledon logo. IMG secured the rights based largely on intuition, beyond the facts available at the time. And it became this incredibly steady, long-term income source. Sometimes you need that informed leap of faith.
So if we boil it all down, McCormack's core message about street smart seems to be about what? Constant awareness.
I think so. Constant observation, constant adaptation, and this really deep, almost intuitive grasp of human behavior in a business setting.
It's not about a formula from a book.
No. It's about reading the situation, the room, the person, the timing, the underlying currents, and acting decisively based on that understanding.
It's dynamic.
Very. And he took it even further with his inner game of business idea.
The inner game, what was that?
It's this philosophy where true champions, the real high performers, never believe he is performing as well as he actually is.
Ugh.
There's always a slight dissatisfaction, a drive to improve.
Always striving, never complacent.
Exactly. He told one last story about Palmer and Player playing golf together. They finished dead even, but afterwards, both of them were convinced the other guy had played better that day.
Wow. Even tied, they felt they could have done more.
It's that mindset, always seeing room for improvement, never quite satisfied, no matter how well you're actually doing objectively. That's the inner drive.
So McCormack's book and these ideas, they're not really meant to make you feel comfortable, are they?
Not at all. They're meant to provoke, to challenge.
Hmm?
So his final thought, maybe for you listening, is this. If you've heard all this and you're feeling pretty satisfied, pretty confident about your own business skills, McCormack would probably say you may have a lot of catching up to do.
Huh. Final nudge. So the challenge is to reflect, see where you can apply some of these maybe unconventional insights, and just keep learning, keep pushing beyond the standard way of doing things.
Always be observing, always be learning. That's the street smart way.